Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, founder of a revolutionary medical sales training and mentorship program called the Medical Sales Career Builder, and I'm also host of the Medical Sales Podcast. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire world. It doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing and diagnostic lab, you name it, you will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 10% performer within your role, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. And remember, I am a medical sales expert sharing my own opinion about this amazing industry and how it can change your life. What kind of money were you making as a sales rep, sales manager, and then what kind of pay cut did you take just to get into that med device world?
At that time, as a sales rep, depending on the commission, the commission structure, and that's another discussion, obviously. How we set up, you're good 1 year, the next year, you're at the bottom.
Right.
But everybody's used to that when you're in sales. But as a sales rep, it was easy to have entry salary at, 75 grand, for example. And with $25,000 commission, I think that was feasible, and it's still feasible, obviously, today.
Yeah, that's pretty common today.
Yeah. As a sales manager, obviously, you start, the 6-figure number as a manager. At least my guess now is people are probably higher at 150 as salary base plus commission. So easy to make, $200,000 per year as a manager in both in pharma and in med device. I know that in med device right now, especially in spine orthopedic, it's getting tougher.
Mm-hmm.
Back a couple of years ago, people will easily make $500,000, in base salary and commission. It's not like that anymore because the way it's structured in the U.S. where,
Hold on. The U.S. said, wait a minute. No, you're going to make much less. Yeah.
But so at that time, if I look at what I was making in pharma, I probably got, $50,000, of my overall paycheck, because you have to remember that when you go in med device, especially in distribution, you don't have the same advantage that if you are in med device with Medtronic, for example, or J&J or whatever, because they have also a good benefit that you don't get when you're a distributor. So there's a difference there that you need to consider. I took that road of going to the distribution pathway from the get-go when I get in medical device. I could have just applied to Medtronic, whatever. I will have get a job and get way more money probably than I was making in pharma. But what I have to say is also at that time when I took the decision to move to med device is I was never a good employee in a sense that I don't like to have a boss. It's like it was always difficult for me.
Authority.
Yeah. So for me, it was better to go on my own, if I can say, and build something from the ground up.
Let's go deeper though. Before we do that, what were you selling? And I know you probably sold a whole suite of products, but what was the most common product you were selling when you're in your pharma career?
In pharma?
Yeah.
So mostly cardiology and gastroenterology, and also in psychiatry. So there was the 3 big one where I had products for 17 years.
Gastro psych. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you transitioned to device, what field did you start into?
What do you mean by that?
So when you said, I'm now going to open up a med device company and work with my friend, what was the specialty?
At that time, it was more in interventional radiology and interventional cardiology and vascular surgery. And so it's very rare that you will move from pharma to med device and you will meet the same customer. It's very rare because, you sell product in cardiology, but It's the regular cardiologist, the one who's seeing the patient, not the interventional cardiologist is the one is getting the patient from the cardiologist to intervene. So you started from almost from scratch. It's not the same customer. You can use your relationship you had in the past to get access to those people, but it's not the same physician for sure.
So you're entertaining your friend. You're taking a $50,000 pay cut. What gave you the comfort to say, I have responsibilities, I have kids, I have all life, and I'm going to make 50 grand less because of what?
Freedom. And I got divorced also at that time. So it was like, it was not the best situation.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. Okay, so what? Okay, see, these are the details people need to hear so they can understand. You need context in this life. So okay, so you got divorced, and now you're like, I want to change everything. What am I going to do? I'm assuming that was a sentiment.
Yeah, it was. And you're there in a point in your life where it's now or never. If I don't do it now, I will stay in the same position and I will feel miserable. That was my point of view at that time. I did that, even knowing that obviously I had money aside, that I can rely on if I need it, because you have to buy a car. You don't have the car that the pharma company give you. You have so you have to put money aside for the old days. You don't have some stuff that's what pharma is so interesting. And even in med device, if you work for Medtronic or the big company, you will get that too. That was my decision not to go that road, because I didn't want to have this big corporation to be under. I didn't want to be in that square box. I want to feel more freedom. It's maybe an unusual way to switch, but that was the way that I felt that was best fit with me.
It's so admirable, because to go from pharma to med, you didn't go to work for a company and learn the ropes. You went to go start your own distributorship. And you have to have a lot of confidence in your own abilities. And of course you did, because wow, how could you be comfortable making that kind of decision?
If the only thing in life for you is to make as much money as possible, you're not going to do what I did, because for me, that was not important. That was not about the money.
Sure.
It was, like I said, about the freedom, being able to decide what I want to do, what time I want to wake up in the morning, and what time I want to finish working, and do my own schedule, choose the product I want. Because obviously, if you work for the big company, pharma, you don't choose your product, and they're dumping to your desk, and this is what you have to promote. So at least at the distributorship, you can choose what you want to talk about and promote. So that was part of it, for sure.
Was it that your friend's opportunity gave you the confidence to start this company, or you were ready, right? Okay, I see. So you worked with your friend for a little bit before you ever tried to open up your own distributorship.
Yeah, because obviously that was all new for me. I didn't know, exactly what I was getting into. You can read about it, you listen to podcasts or whatever, but to be in it obviously totally different. But it just happened that I think I was good at it. I was happy. I was passionate about it. And everyone around me was supporting me in my decision. So it was making sense.
Because
my
you had
friend
to leave him to go do your own.
Yeah. Well, no, I still, I was, since a couple of weeks ago, I was still, doing work with him. Yeah. I kept that relationship until recently.
So the company you started was not in competition with your friend. It was ancillary, completely different.
Yeah. No, we were kind of working together in that sense.
So ancillary. Okay. That's cool. Okay. Yeah. And I'm asking this because I'm thinking, was it like, I don't want to do pharma. Life is going to look different now. I'm going to make new decisions. Yes, I'll work with you. You're working with a friend. And then was it, wow, this is a lot of legs. You know what? I want to start my own thing. Or did it kind of happen differently?
It was very organic, if I can say. I've learned, it gave me some opportunity to look at some product, and so I'm going to help you out. So it was that partnership that was working, and it worked for many years. It worked for 11 years that we were doing that kind of work. So if I was going to a convention and was seeing some product, I say, hey, you know what? I saw a product, maybe it's interesting for you. So it was like that partnership. And that's partnership who actually, and I don't want to jump too much, but that brought me to the US. So yeah.
Okay, so now we have to go there. All right, so you're okay. So Pharma Days is in Canada.
Yeah.
You're in Canada, do your thing. Your friend invites you this opportunity in, I guess, let's just say interventional radiology. You take it, you're working in that space, the lights come on, you're like, wait a minute, I can totally do this my own way with my own company, with my own products to choose from. And then you move to the US or no?
No. Well, no. Well, yes
Okay.
and no. But actually what happened is that this friend with this distribution company was also manufacturing some basic product in interventional cardiology. And he was asking me to train reps in Canada, his team, to do trial with physician with that device. So I was traveling in Canada doing trial in hospital. After that, he said, well, let's look for Europe, So I was traveling in Europe to find distribution in Europe and do trial in hospital. I went to Finland to do trial, for example. So, and then we started to look at the US market. So, because obviously the US market is the biggest medical device market in the world. And at that time in Canada, he had like close to 70% of market share with that specific product. So we said, let's look for the US. And I said, well, I think I can do it. So I built, a plan to start looking at the US market, being a marketing plan. And it was making sense at the time to look on the East Coast of the US for that specific product, because that's where there was a lot of cath lab. And Miami was, Florida, and especially Miami, was the place where it was also making more sense to start looking, for partnership with distributor and physician hospital. So that's how it started 10 years ago, 11 years ago, where we built that plan and say, okay, let's go. I'm going to go 6 months in the US because as Canadian, you can be in the US for 6 months without a visa. I was not technically working, but I was here to explore the market. So that's how, I from Canada, I came to the US to launch that product. And what happened at that time is I realized that winter was not for me. So I said, I love the beach. I'm not going back. And that's kind of what happened. I sold my house in Quebec City. I bought a condo in downtown Quebec City to keep a place there. And I packed my car and moved out to Miami.
And then you said, I got to make this work.
And that's what, that I did. So, and the reason it was also a good timing, like I was saying at the beginning, sometimes it's now or never. My mom passed away 10 years ago and my kids were old enough. My son is 30 years old. So, he was 20. So I'm old. And so the timing was great. They were on their own. My mom passed away. I said, you know what? I was ready again to move, to try something else. And that's what I did. So there was a reason where I accepted that project. And when I realized that, after 6 months here, I said, you know what, there's something here in the US that the market is an unmet need here. And I wanted to explore that. And without jumping too far, that's how I started the company here in the US.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. And I want to let you know our programs cover the entire career of a medical sales professional. From getting into the medical sales industry, to training on how to be a top performer in the medical sales industry, to masterfully navigating your career to executive level leadership. These programs are personalized and customized for your specific career and background, and trained by over 50 experts, including surgeons. Our results speak for ourselves, and we're landing positions for our candidates in less than 120 days in top medical technology companies like Stryker, Medtronic, Merck, Abbott, you name it. Would you run an Ironman race without training and a strategy? You wouldn't. So why are you trying to do the same with the medical sales position? You need training, you need a strategy, and you need to visit evolveyoursuccess.com, fill out the application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and let's get you into the position that you've always dreamed of. Why? You mentioned freedom as a reason to go distributorship route. I know a number of people in distributorships. I want to hear from you. Besides freedom, why would someone make that decision? And then I do want to hear if somebody's listening to this right now and thinking to themselves, whether they're a medical device rep, even in interventional radiology, or a pharma rep, or someone that wants to get in, and they've already heard and been exposed to the distributorship route. What are the benefits to doing it that way? And what is the financial expectation? Like what can you look to hopefully make one day that's going to sustain?
Yeah. Well, obviously you need to be very, very comfortable with the risk and the unknown. And I think that's what defined a little bit my pathway is. At one point, I need to take risk. I'm not comfortable in the status quo. It needs to move. Something needs to change. That's very personal. But I think that you need to, obviously freedom is the big part, but also I was looking at what's the potential here, and the potential is illimited. It's depending what you want to do with it, and that was very interesting for me to say, okay, I will take almost all the decision, I will, like I said, I will choose a product and I will find a way to be successful because I knew I could. And especially when people look at the US market and that American dream, it's not easy. Everybody says it's not easy, especially when you're an immigrant and you arrive here, you start from scratch. It's tough. I can speak for hours about how difficult it is, but that was the risk I was taking. And I went to, a steady more job in the distribution in Canada to now we have a business where we serve more than 100, foreign company to enter the US market. It's going like this. Every day. Today, I had 4 conference calls before this one, 4 conference calls with foreign company. I was able, I think I was the right place again at the right time. Or maybe it's just, I have that sense, feeling what's needed. I think it goes back to what I was telling about you need to know your customer. You need to know who you have in front of you. And after 6 months here in the US, I had that feeling that something was missing. I was talking with foreign company and I was listening to them, their difficulty, what they were looking for. And it was like, oh, I'm so surprised that they cannot find everything in one roof, And that's how I decided to start what we have right now, to being that one-stop shop for medical device who wants to enter the US market. So the profit, the money I can make here is there's no limit. There's absolutely no limit,
Can't say no to that.
Yeah. So it's my own decision. But obviously, it's not a 9 to 4 job. If people think that, that's how it's it's not. It's not. And I think that's one of the big difference between pharma and med device is in pharma, you can have a 9 to 4 job, if I can say.
Working when the offices are open.
Yeah. Or you do CME at night, but that's not every night. And it's depending on the budget that you have. But in med device, depending on the field of expertise, but in spine, orthopedic, and a lot of others, if you work in a war, it could be weekend. It could be, I still have a distribution company in Canada, and we take contract with international company who are looking for French speaking for the province of Quebec. It's something unique. But so we get some contract just because of that. And the product that we do in the province of Quebec, it's a thrombectomy device, for DVT and PE. Well, you get called, at night, weekend. So so you have to be ready. That's a huge difference between pharma.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I was going with that. But
You kind of concluded it already.
Yeah.
And you were just highlighting the biggest differences, and you were speaking to the financial opportunity in that it's really unlimited, and they have to work for it. Whatever your number is, you got to work for it.
Yeah. I leave my home, at 6:37 in the morning to come into the office, and I'm always the last one, to leave because that's my own business. Well, I have employees, but, obviously it's my own business. So it's long hours. But the thing, what I have to say, and even in pharma, when I was pharma, I always took proud of not working in the weekend. So for me, it was family, my kids, my partner now, it's just, that I'm not saying that I don't open my computer to quickly answer, quick email, but I try not to work in the weekend.
Sure.
I work hard during the week, but not during the weekend.
You have to manage your own you time and family time. You have to manage that and create.
If not, you're going insane.
Yeah.
No,
you're right.
And you lose the passion.
Mm-hmm. That's real. So tell us in as much detail as you can for an audience that might not know what you're talking about. What exactly does your company do?
So that one medical, we specialize in helping foreign manufacturing company of medical device to enter the U.S. market. The U.S. market is, every country has their own approval system, their own way for hospital to buy. If you're in Canada, it's a public system. In the US, you have a mix of public and private systems. So those are complicated for a foreign company to understand exactly how it works. So, and we serve, the small startup, small to medium-sized company, not the big one. The big one, usually they will have an office in the US already. They have their footprint, but all those small ones, and there's tons. I'm grateful to be in this industry because you see so many young, small company, launching product. That's like, you say, wow, it's crazy, especially with AI now, where there's no limit what people can do and bring onto the market. So there's tons of those small companies they want to try with the US. They say, they look at the big market, and most of the time, what they think they understand of the US market is here, but, actually they're way off. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to help them to enter the US market and being a one-stop shop. It sounds cheesy. However, that's really what we built, and we get the feedback from customer. That's what we are now, meaning that we will manage the importation because we are registered with the FDA as an importer of medical devices. We added, warehousing capacity. Again, they're a small company. They want to keep a small inventory of their product in the US because international shipping costs or custom issues, prevent that. So, we keep an inventory of their product, and we can do the domestic shipping to hospital, distributor, whoever. They need a reimbursement strategy. They need a product registration with the FDA, distribution. So really, we try to say, okay, sit down, relax, tell me what you need, and we're going to help you out. So that's what that One Medical is, really helping, those foreign companies. And like I said, we serve over 100, foreign medical device company right now to help them to enter the US market. And it goes from basic product like glasses and toothbrush are medical devices. People don't know that, Condoms are medical devices,
Wow. I didn't know, but okay.
Yeah. It's actually a class 2. So up to C-arms, big devices, for interventional radiology or interventional cardiology, spine product, orthopedic products. So everything in between, that's what we do, helping those companies to bring their product in the market here in the US.
So that's amazing. But let's talk about it. When you say helping to bring their products, are we talking a marketing effort? Are we talking a compliance effort? Are we talking how the market perceives the product and actually wants to utilize positions? I mean, when we say help them, like what are we talking about?
I think the first step is usually when companies reach out to us because they saw a Google ads that we do outside the US,
Sure.
or a reference from another customer. We get that a lot now. The first conversation that we have on a Zoom meeting is usually more question and answer, where we there's a lot of education to be made, with them. Sometimes it's not because you have a product and that you look at the US market, they say, okay, we're going to launch it. And in 6 months, we're going to make millions of dollars. That's not how it works. So a lot of time we have to do a lot of education and teaching us to bring them down to the reality. That is, reality check is the first thing. Try to understand, do they understand the US market or not? Because here in the US, if you sell to a hospital and you bring a product that nothing is available like this in the US, nothing, it's a new product. What my first question to them is that, how is it going to get reimbursed? And they're like, what? Well, somebody has to pay for the product. So how is it going to be reimbursed? What's a CPT code? I don't want to be too technical, but so people's like, oh, I don't know. Okay. First of all, you need to know that. So we can help you. We have a lot of different consultants that we work that's more specialized, for example, in reimbursement. So we're going to work with them, to try to understand what will be the reimbursement. Because you cannot start selling and the hospital will say, well, how am I going to get paid? So you need to know that. We do that. And then when they know how to do it, they have a sales strategy, because we ask them, so how are you going to sell it? Well, we're going to find distributor. Have you started to find distributor? Well, not really. Okay. What kind of distributor? Are you going to look for a stocking distributor? Or are you going to look for a 1099? So those people are based on commission. They don't know. So we do that a lot, those education, talking a lot with them. We don't get paid. All that time we're going to get paid. We're not a consultant in that sense that they pay us per hour for what we're doing. I wanted to do things differently. And I think it works in that sense. And people appreciate that. And so when they understand everything they need to do, sometimes they will come back to us 6 months, a year after. This morning, I had a conference call with a company a year ago. We started a discussion. So when they feel that now they're ready, I say, okay, now we can help you. We can help you to find distributor. We can help you with the importation, because the FDA has a regulation where if you're a foreign company and you want to ship product in the US, the buyer, mostly the distributor, needs to be registered with the FDA as an importer of medical devices. 95% of domestic distributors, they're not registered with the FDA because it's too expensive for them. They prefer to wait that the product is already in the US and just buy it here in the US. That doesn't mean it's a US product, but product already in the US, so they don't have to deal with the importation part. So because of that, foreign companies, they have difficulty to find distributor. So we act there as their importer of their medical device. They go through us, to sell to a distributor or to an hospital, to Amazon. Amazon won't do the initial importer part. They say we don't touch that. So if you sell through your medical device through Amazon, you need an importer who's registered with the FDA. So we do that for them. Then, like I said, the warehousing, the distribution. So that's usually, the three big pillars is really, importation, warehousing, and distribution of their product. And everything else they need, like a reimbursement strategy, marketing strategy, other type of consultant they need, custom broker. We can help out because we have a lot of consultants that we work.
One-stop shop.
We are. And I'm pleased to say that we are, because we get that feedback from our customer. Yeah. That's what we are.
So, okay. Now, is all of the revenue your company generates provided by the client, or are you getting revenue from the client, revenue from the other side of what the client needs and making that connection, revenue from the other piece of client and for making that connection? How does it work?
So I started to build the companies essentially at the beginning with the importation part. So I registered our medical with the FDA and started to get customer. Now, it's every week we have a new customer for that. That goes, quite well now. And the next phase was the warehousing, because we were getting, requests for that. Now we have 2 warehouses. We need to maximize that. So and the distribution is the new thing that we're offering to using our sub distributor or 1099. So what I did, I hired, a sales and marketing person. So his role is mainly to manage that, make sure that the warehouse is full of customer and initiate those relationships with matchmaking between manufacturing company and potential distributor in the US. I will say outside of that, if we refer a customer for, reimbursement strategy or a custom broker, whatever, we try to do in a way where it's more an exchange of services. So we send customer to them, they send customer to us. Because, if you are a consultant in reimbursement strategy, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have a customer that at one point will need an initial importer or warehousing capacity or distribution. So that was my decision to
Like
work
your clients, bringing more clients.
Yeah. Instead of asking for, okay, if I refer you a customer and, I just keep it clean. It's easier that way. And it's working for us. We have that exchange of, people sending us customer, we send customer to them. And also in my mindset is to keep the costs as low as possible for my customer. Because if I get money in between, that's mean that my customer is paying more for the service he's getting from the consultant. So I just prefer to keep it more clean like this.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a customized and personalized program that gets you into the medical technology industry as a sales professional or any type of role for that matter. Become a top performer in your position and masterfully navigate your career to executive level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolvesuccess.com by visiting our site, filling out an application, schedule some time with one of our account executives, and allowing us to get you where you need to be. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews on the Medical Sales Podcast.